Final preview and prediction for the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Buffalo Bills right here, live on the STT Sports Network. We're taking your thoughts and opinions on how this game will play out, who should play, who should not play, what should be the goal, not the key, but the goal for our Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday. We're going to break it down live in just a moment here. Guys, lock in. Let's get started. And a very good morning to everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM, right here on the STT Sports Network. We're live, YouTube and Twitter, you know the drill, wherever you're watching, live or on replay. Please do me that favor, hit the like button. It's very important. Subscribe to the channel and share this out on all your social media platforms. A very, very good morning, a very, very Merry Christmas plus one. If I didn't see you the day before Christmas in the chat, I want to make sure I wish everybody a Merry Christmas. Hope everyone enjoyed their Christmas holiday with their family. I know I did. I know I had a blast. And we are getting set here. For what? 5 days left in 2025. So you got anything left to get accomplished? Anything on your to-do list in 2025? You better get cracking. But what's got to get cracking is the Eagles. They got to get back to work. They got to refocus. Holidays are over. The playoffs are looming. And we are set to take on the Buffalo Bills in what we thought was going to be a critical battle, critical test. And now, as the season's played out, I'm not sure if that's the case. So the question today is, we're going to preview the game. We're going to predict the game. But I think the real question is, what is the goal from this Eagles game? What's the point of this Eagles game? What do we need to see and accomplish in this Eagles game? But one more time, guys, please like, subscribe, share. Good morning, Little G. How you doing today? Yes, let's kick some Buffalo butt. Absolutely. The selfish part of me wants them to play. If the offense and defense are doing their job, let them rest. Good morning, Suzanne. Yeah, look, I'm torn. I guess playoff seeding does matter a little bit. The Eagles being the 3-seat, 2-seat, 4-seat is all in play. So I guess you got to play them this week at the very least. Lane Johnson and Jalen Carter, because our poll question today, should Lane Johnson and Jalen Carter play? Yes, no, just Lane Johnson, just Jalen Carter. They're your options. I'm playing everybody that's healthy this week. I am not risking anybody that's not 100%. Lane Johnson, Jalen Carter, two of those guys. They don't need to knock the rust off, in my opinion. The goal this week is to continue to build some momentum for those playoffs, but the goal for this week is also to stay healthy, to get healthy, to get people in the right frame of mind to play playoff football against some really damn good opponents in just a couple of weeks. And yes, good morning as well. Yes. I hope you had a great Christmas as well, Eagles fan. Merry Christmas to you. Good morning, Robert. How you doing? We're gonna move on from Christmas, and we're gonna get focused on Eagles Buffalo. I think there's some really key things. Winning and losing might matter a little bit for playoff seed. Now, there is an outside chance the Eagles can fall to the number 4 seed, right? But that matters. That comes into play with a 1 o'clock football game. Seattle, Carolina playing at 1 o'clock. If Carolina loses that game, then the 4 seat's out of the equation. You're the 2 seat or you're the 3 seat, depending on that game. And Seattle's playing that game with something to prove as well because they're going for the number 1 seat. So there's that to take into equation. To me, the most important thing outside of coming out of Sunday healthy is figuring out some of the quirks that might be wrong with this team still. Figuring out the passing attack on offense, getting a few more wrinkles figured out, offensively speaking. The next thing that's important in this game on Sunday is figuring out the run defense and continuing to improve upon it. We know the run defense has been a big weak spot on this Eagles defense. Still the 21st ranked run defense in football. Going up against Buffalo's number one rushing attack in all of football. Not just James Cook, but also mobile quarterbacks. You go into the playoffs. We are going to be facing teams like San Francisco, like Seattle, like the Rams, potentially, that have great running attacks and mobile quarterbacks. We got to continue to get better at it. And the third most important thing is special teams. I care less if we win or lose on Sunday, as long as Jake Elliott starts making field goals. I care less who wins or loses on Sunday, as long as we field every kickoff cleanly. The winning and losing on Sunday is such a secondary important factor to everything else that plays out on the game. Good morning, Adam. How you doing? Hope you had a great Christmas. Crazy how the Lions were the 1 seed last year and missed the playoffs this year. Chiefs were 1 last year, missed the playoffs. Yeah, both number 1 seeds gone, out. Would never have predicted that the Lions and the Chiefs would both miss the playoffs, Adam. Would never have guessed that. Was that last night? Was that Jason? Was that Travis Kelce's last home game for Kansas City Chiefs? Was that the last time he's playing football, period, let alone for Kansas City? End of an era, potentially, right there. Good morning, Stephen Fuentes. How you doing? Rest them both. They need the 1,000% healthy for the wild card. I agree. Now, based off of practice reports, and we'll get a real official practice report today, when the Eagles get back to practice. They were off yesterday. Their practice report yesterday was just, it was just done because it's, required to be done by the NFL. It looks like Jalen Carter will play, and it looks like Lane Johnson will not play. And I understand people wanting them to knock the rust off. But we're not talking about fringe players here. We're talking about Lane Johnson, arguably the greatest right tackle of all time in football, who's been in the league for forever. We're talking about Jalen Carter, arguably one of the most disruptive defensive tackles in football. These aren't guys with low pedigree. These high pedigree players, they don't need to knock the rust off. Knocking the rust off at 90% or being cold, entering the playoffs at 100%, I'll take 100% cold over knocking the rust off 90% with risk of re-injuring it if you're not fully healthy. I think too much is made for defense and offensive linemen in the knock the rust off department for those two players. I really do. I think it's kind of crazy that people think that you do need to. It's so important to knock that rust off. I don't think it is. I don't think it is at all. I mean, we didn't play any of our starters at the in the preseason. We still came out and won how many games right off the bat. I don't worry about the knock the rust off. I'm resting Lane Johnson until whatever game or whatever matchup we have in January. I'm resting Jalen Carter. The same thing. I'm considering, depending on how Sunday plays out, sitting Cam Jurgens and Landon Dickerson. Landon Dickerson is on the injured list this week with an illness. So whatever happened in the Sixers locker room is crossing over the NovaCare complex in Lincoln Financial Field. Let's hope our team doesn't come down with a bug. Let me tell you something. This is a long bug to get over. I'm still just barely getting over it here 5 days later. I actually probably started on Saturday last week, this bug that I've been battling. But anyway, I want these guys 100% healthy. I could care less about anything. I want to have my predictions at 12-5 come correct. I want to do a lot of things. But you know what? Not worried about it. Win, lose, does not matter. Statistics, I do know there are some bonuses on the line this week for Eagles players. I believe Saquon Barkley's got a rushing yards bonus, and I believe Devontae Smith's got a receiving yard bonus that's on the line this week. Well, this week and next week. So maybe you give them a little leeway, a little extra playing time to get their bonuses. But these guys, in my opinion, I'm doing everything in my power to make sure these guys get healthy. And if Carolina loses to Seattle, and this game is even remotely not in question, win or lose, not only am I not playing Lane Johnson, Jalen Carter, Landon Dickerson, Cam Jurgens, Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts, pretty much everybody. Next week, they're not even going to sniff the field. Next week's going to be a full-on preseason game. But this week has to be treated that way as well, in my humble opinion. You have to consider treating this week as a preseason game. I know there's going to be the argument made that this week is a great measuring stick. A great measuring stick against a great Buffalo team. I don't need to measure. If you need to have a measuring stick game in week 17, then I don't think your team is as dangerous as you think it is. So I don't need to see how we fare against Buffalo. Buffalo has their flaws. Honestly, the Buffalo Bills, they don't scare me. Am I crazy to say that the Bills don't scare me? I know Josh Allen is a great quarterback. Has he had that great of a year? He has carried that team to an extent. He's got 12 rushing touchdowns. He's got 37 touchdowns overall. It's kind of crazy. He's also got a dozen turnovers. The Bills are Josh Allen and James Cook. And that's it. Khalif Shakir, nothing special wide receiver-wise. Two tight ends, Kincaid and Knox, nothing special. Josh Palmer, nothing special. Defensively speaking, they're decent. You got to worry about Joey Bosa a little bit. The Bills, to me, I don't have to worry about measuring up to them because it's not necessary. They're such a small part of the big picture this season. Bills have no serious wide receivers that the Eagles secondary have to game plan for. No, they have to stop James Cook. They got to stop Josh Allen's rushing. That's the only thing the defense has to worry about. That is all. But I'm looking at the stats here, the Bills right now as we do this. It's like he's got 3,500 passing yards almost, Josh Allen. But he's got only two guys over 360 yards in receiving on his team, in Kincaid and Shakir. It's kind of crazy. Looking at the statistics of the Bills makes me think of like 2019 Carson Wentz, where he didn't have anybody over 500. And he was thrown to Greg Ward and Boston Scott off the practice squads. It's eerily similar to that. It's kind of crazy. Sirianni has the advantage in the coaching department. Absolutely. Look, I have not been shy about my opinion on Sean McDermott. Massively overrated coach. And as an impartial guy, I've said it for a while, that the Bills and Josh Allen will never go anywhere as long as he's their head coach. Now, I saw the conversation floating around that the Bills will have no excuse now with Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, and Lamar Jackson all not in the playoffs. I guess Lamar Jackson still has a slight outside chance to win his division with the Ravens. But Josh Allen doesn't have an excuse, right? My question is, if Josh Allen doesn't get to the Super Bowl, what's that say about him? But also on the flip side, if he does it get an asterisk? Well, he didn't have to beat the elite. He only beat a bunch of rookies and has-beens and never was. NFL rigging games for Bills, it's blatant. Patullo, good morning, first off. Merry Christmas to you as well. Yeah, they want to give Josh Allen their great hope. They want to get him on the big stage. They absolutely do. They absolutely want to get Josh Allen that Super Bowl ring, or at least that chance of the Super Bowl, so that they can prop up their golden boy with proof of how good he really is, I guess is the way to say it. The Eagles will be fine. I'm not worried, Robert, about the Eagles at all. The only thing that worries me about the Eagles is any more injuries that might come in the next 2 weeks. I think Bills fans are using this game more as a measuring stick game than the Eagles are. Well, I've seen some Eagles fans, Steve, say to me on Twitter that you got to play people. This is a major measuring stick for the Eagles, whether they stand a chance or stack up against the scary Buffalo Bills. Is the division officially locked up for New England, by the way? I'm not even sure if the division is even officially locked. No, I think Buffalo and New England are still battling for that division title as well. So I don't think that's locked up yet. Choking is a Buffalo Bills thing written in time. Yeah, I mean, the Bills are no more or no less of a choker than the Dallas Cowboys over the last, their entire era, the Cowboys, whatever. You know what I mean? And good morning to you as well, Elephant. Hope you are well today. Look, this game, to an extent, for the Philadelphia Eagles, is a meaningless football game. Next week is hands down a meaningless football game. But in theory, this Eagles game is meaningless. Unless you really, 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 truly care about getting the number 2 seed. There's no measuring stick. There's no comparison. There's no, you're just trying to work on things. This game is so meaningless to me that every time the Eagles cross the 40-yard line offensively, I'd be kicking a field goal just to get Jake Elliott's yips out of his system. Let Jake Elliott kick 27 field goals on Sunday. I'm working on things. I'm doing things to be ready for 2 weeks from now when we come to the wild card round. That's all that matters. It's not a scheduled loss, so to speak, but it is. It's not that big of a deal. The 2 seed is more important than it sounds. It guarantees 2 home playoff games. And Chris, and I hear this. I hear this all the time. And I get it. And I understand the thought process here. And I think it's a fair thought process. The 2 to the 3, yes, you get that guaranteed second home playoff game. I get that. But is the 2 seed important enough to risk Jalen Carter getting to 100%, to risk Lane Johnson getting to 100%, to put more mileage on Saquon Barkley and the rest of the offensive line, Landon Dickerson, who's not been healthy? I don't think it's important enough to put that risk out there, at least in me. Now, I don't want to be the 4 seed. But the 2 seed, the 3 seed, it is what it is. And even the 2 getting the 2 seed, so much still has to happen. We have to win out. Other teams have to lose. There's still such, I'm not going to let playing next week for the 2 seed, risk players against the Commanders team after Dan Quinn's statements. So if I'm not worried about next week, then I'm not worried about this week. See, I disagree with this. Rusty as hell. Like I on the Jalen Carter and the Lane Johnson, you gotta get them back and knock the rust off. I get you don't want to sit your entire offense or defense for 2 straight weeks. I get that. But hey, we came out. These guys didn't play a single snap in the preseason, right? These guys didn't play at all. What was our record like through the first 4, 5, 6 weeks of the season? We might not have been, perfect, but we came into the season healthy-ish. We didn't lose early in the year because of rust. I have faith in the trust in the coaching and the systems in place in this team not to worry about rust. I would play Johnson and Carter a few series each of the last 2 games. See, I disagree. What's 10 snaps for Lane Johnson really going to do? Lane Johnson is a first ballot unanimous Hall of Famer. Is 10 snaps really going to be the difference? I don't think so. Jalen Carter, 10 snaps. Are you going to risk him re-injuring that shoulder for 10 snaps? I don't think so. Phil, you watch flag football Pro Bowl? No. I don't think I've watched 5 minutes of the Pro Bowl over the last 5 years combined. I don't know if the Eagles need home field advantage this year. Would it be nice? Absolutely. But this defense is coached and built to play on the road. Absolutely agree. I mean, we're 5-3 right now on the road. You never know what's going to happen. There's going to be if you think about it, with the parity in the NFL, right now, the road teams in the first round, 49ers, Rams, Packers, they're all teams that could beat the Bears and the Panthers and the Eagles even. So the chances that a second or third or fourth seed loses to get somebody else an extra home playoff game is very likely. Do you remember how lackluster Carter was the first couple of games? Carter was because he wasn't healthy. Jalen Carter was hurt in training camp. Jalen Carter didn't even practice in training camp. Jalen Carter has been hurt, like Landon Dickerson, like Cam Jurgens, since the start of this season. And I talked on this show early, coming out of training camp, that Landon Dickerson and Jalen Carter shouldn't have been playing the first 2-3 weeks of the season so that they could get right. Jalen Carter's problem that he's been on IR or been hurt the last 4 or 5 weeks stems from their lack of resting him, in my opinion, earlier in the season. So you got to get him healthy. So I think his lackluster play was more the injury not healing. I want the win we can rest against Washington. We better rest against Washington because I don't trust someone like Dan Campbell and those players, who was the other one that said it, talking trash about how they'll remember us going for 2 and whatnot. I think they took that a little too serious there. I'm not letting someone like Frankie Louvu go headhunting in Washington, against Washington week 18. Ain't worried about Lane. I'm worried about Carter. Gotcha. And I think that's, at least you could say Carter is only in his 3rd year in the NFL. He's got, less experience. Lane Johnson, I would feel Lane Johnson could not play a snap of football for 2 straight years and just come in without any warm-up, and I'd be perfectly confident. He's that damn good. So I get that. I get that argument. I would be good with 3 seed and definitely rest everyone week 18. And if Carolina loses to Seattle on the 1 o'clock slate, the 3 seed is a guarantee. Carter has a wear and tear injury that needed maintenance. Lane was an acute injury. 2 different situations. Carter needs this for his confidence. Maybe a confidence thing for Lane John or for Jalen Carter playing him. Maybe, very possible. Brutal for Dallas, Detroit, and KC to be scheduled on Thanksgiving and Christmas days this year. I saw a few players complain about that, and I get it. I get both sides of the argument. That it sucks to have to play on the holidays, but then the other people say, "Well, suck it up. You're making millions of dollars." I get both sides of the argument. It does suck. I have worked on holidays plenty of times. I've been away from my family plenty of times on holidays. It sucks. It really does. But you choose your job. You know what I mean? It's your choice. You got to know what comes with it. Now, having them scheduled for both holidays, now that we're doing Christmas games, it sucks. Now, I will be honest. I watched just football yesterday. I did not watch one dribble of basketball yesterday, which was great. There were some pretty brutal football games yesterday. Eagles shouldn't play Johnson or Carr. They need more time to heal. I agree. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. Thank you. I'm so tired of people saying out of shape and how disappointed they've been in JC. He's been hurt. He's been hurt since he missed like a good 3 weeks of training camp, Suzanne. And he never got the chance. Same thing with Landon Dickerson. Same thing with Cam Jurgens. These guys never got a chance to properly heal this year. What's up, mister? Hope you're well today. Eagles won 2 games in a row without Lane Johnson. If he comes back healthy, the offense will be that much better. Yeah, all this we can't win without Lane Johnson has flipped the last 2 weeks, hasn't it? Jalen Carter is a down year and still made the Pro Bowl. I don't know if he needs anything for his That's true. Now, I don't think he deserved the Pro Bowl, Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter definitely stole, in my opinion, Mr. Jordan Davis's Pro Bowl spot. That's, highway robbery there, but guys, there's 18 people in the room right now. If you haven't, please hit the like button. If you haven't, subscribe, share this out. It's free to click those buttons, guys. Please do that. Hopefully we kick their asses. Look, of course I hope we beat Buffalo. Of course I want them to kick their asses. But there's so many more important things on Sunday than just the win. I mean, I joke about it, but I also don't hate it. Like, I make sure I'm going for it as little as possible on 4th down in Buffalo. It's going to be windy. It's going to be cold. It might be snowing. Jake Elliott, I'm throwing your ass out there in the worst conditions possible and making you kick every single opportunity. You are going to kick the yips. You're going to kick the Missy Elliott right out of your system on Sunday. I'm going to do everything in my power to get your kicker on right. I loved when the Birds crushed the Cards on Thanksgiving the week after McNabb was benched. Unfortunately, the Cards got the last laugh 6 weeks later. Was that both the same year? Wow. I love football on Thanksgiving. Used to love basketball. Now football on Christmas. But I hate when my team's names play. Because I like yesterday, just put football on the background. We had company over. I was cooking a great dinner. It was on. It was background noise. Keep my eye on the game a little bit. Put a little $5 parlay out there. Didn't hit, whatever. Thanks, Detroit, for ruining my parlay. Just background noise, there to watch, there to start a conversation. But when your team plays in basketball or football, then you're locked in and you're focused because it's your team. So I'd rather our teams not play on the holidays. But that's just me saying that. Weather is playing a factor in not wanting Lane and Carter to play this week either. The weather plays a factor as well. Absolutely, Steve. That weather, the ground's going to be rock hard. It's going to be icy. It's going to be cold. There are going to be unideal playing conditions. So, I mean, we're just talking about the game in a vacuum and the meaning of the game. You throw the weather aspect in it as well. I don't want to say it totally changes it, but it changes it for sure. Without a doubt. There's only 9 likes on the video so far today, guys. 18 people watching, but only 9 likes on the video. I'm trying to double check the Buffalo weather here. I do know it said the weather was going to be bad, but Buffalo weather. We're updating the Buffalo weather thing right now. Sunday's weather. Now they're saying not much participation or precipitation on Sunday, and the wind's coming down a little bit, but it is still going to be very cold. But we might dodge the snow though on Sunday. The 49ers are going to beat the Bears Sunday night, the Bears finished the season at home against the Lions. The Lions could upset them. The Lions are toast. The Lions are packing it in. Packing it up, packing it in, letting it begin. The Lions are toast. Trust me on that. The Bears win Week 18 against the Lions if they need it to win that division. So this week's game, 49ers-Bears, is crucial. That's just my opinion on that. The Lions they're done completely. Good morning, Bucks. Hope you had a great holiday. Hope you had a great Christmas. Well, let's see. I know who the Panthers are playing on Sunday. Who are the Bucks playing on Sunday with this division? You know, the Panthers are going to have a problem with Seattle. So the Bucks play the Dolphins in Miami. The Bucks should win that game. But the Bucks and the Eagles might win. Yeah, the Eagles should win. But will they? I don't think it matters if they do or don't. I think the Niners get the 1 seat when it's all said and done. Wow, that'd be a big flip-flop. But yeah, I mean, I fear 2 teams in the playoffs, Steve. And just two, I don't fear any team, okay? But the 2 teams I fear the most in the playoffs right now are the 49ers and the Los Angeles Rams, because they both run the ball very well, and they both have quarterbacks, the style of passing games that we struggle against. The 49ers and the Rams will give the Eagles bad matchups. So avoiding the 49ers would be great, at least till later in the playoffs. I ate too much ham, and I ended up going to bed early last night, belly down, Pepto up. Oh, man. I ate way too much, and I drank. I don't know if you could tell. I mean, I'm not 100%. I'm hungover this morning. I saw the bottle of wine, the big jug of Paisano. I was the only one drinking it. There's a lot missing from that jug. Ate so much. I bought a nice filet tenderloin from a butcher, not at a food store, like good quality piece of meat. Cooked that in the oven. Oh my God, it was so good. Most expensive piece of meat I ever purchased. It was so delicious. It was worth every penny. Okay. Made homemade scalloped potatoes, honey glazed carrots. It was a good meal yesterday I made. Let's go Flyers. Yeah, I mean, look. Let's go Flyers. That's right. Worried about the Dolphins. The Dolphins have packed it in, though, Bucks fan. The Dolphins has completely packed it in. They're playing. The Dolphins are playing for draft pick positioning. You're not sleeping on the. I'm not sleeping on Seattle. I think Seattle's a very good football team. I don't trust Sam Darnold in the playoffs, but I think this year might be different with Seattle, the culture and the team. So I'm not totally down on them. Panthers and Bucks play each other week 18, which will decide that division. Man, but so I guess with the way it is, both teams have to win. Like if the Bucks lose and the Panthers win on Sunday, I don't think week 18 matters for them, right? Playing in the NFC playoffs this year is a nightmare. Matt, great comment. Great post. There's not one team that is just like last year. Think about entering the playoffs last year. You had the 15-win Lions, the 14-win Vikings. You had the Eagles at 14 wins or 13 wins, whatever it was. You had 3 like super dominant teams entering the playoffs last year. This year, there is not one team that you can point a finger at and say, that team really should, if all things go right, go there. There's not one team that you could definitely say. Every matchup that you can predict, not one of them is lopsided. Not one of them. Danny Breer is finally bringing up 20-year dudes. Alec Bump is mess, so I'm glad they brought up Barkley. I saw something about that. I don't know who this Barkley guy is, but, yeah, time will tell. The Bears quarterback Caleb Williams coming out of USC was a great prospect, extremely talented, going to be great in the playoffs. I'm not sure yet. Look, I've been very harsh on Caleb Williams. I openly admitted on this channel during the watch party of the Eagles-Bears game on Black Friday and also since then, that Caleb Williams has impressed me this year. I'm not ready to bank on Caleb Williams making a deep run in the playoffs yet. I don't know if he's mature enough. Maybe he wins a game, maybe not. But making a deep run, I can't see the Bears doing. Not yet. But this year, and their head coach, Ben Johnson, obviously the Lions have been hurt by losing him big time. And the Bears' offense has turned around. They run the ball well. They play good team defense. The Bears are a team that could surprise, but he's not a rookie quarterback, but he's a young quarterback. I just don't know if I can trust Caleb Williams in the playoffs. Barkley has been exciting. I'll try my best to pay attention a little bit more. Panthers, Bucks, Steelers, Ravens, Seattle, Niners, all week 18 games that could decide those divisions. Should be good. So the NFL wants every week 18 to matter so much, too. And there's going to be a lot on the line. Now, I think it's pretty much divisions, and that's it. And some seeding. I don't think there's the AFC, there's a couple. I think there's 8 teams still alive. But the NFC, there's only 8 teams alive because the Bucks and the Panthers division. Like, there's not enough teams with still a chance to make the playoffs. Can the Eagles win their division? The Eagles have won their division already. Bucks hurt, losing OC too. Gotcha. Why Bowles gets fired? I thought you said he got fired. I'm like, did I miss that yesterday? Did they fire him on Christmas? No. And Todd Bowles will probably get fired. But Todd Bowles will also find a job as a defense coordinator as soon as he wants to. Oh, am I saying Barkley? It's Barkey. Okay. Thanks for that. I wish I could just make the comments bigger on the screen without I can make them bigger, but it would make everything else. I wish I could make the letters a little bit bigger. Only W's. Gotcha. Only W's. Hey, look, whatever. The Flyers are doing good. The Flyers are great. I love to see it. I'm trying to regain that energy and love and excitement for the Flyers. If the Phillies keep disappointing, maybe there will be more time for the Flyers. Maybe I'll do a Flyers watch party one day, and you guys can teach me as we watch the Flyers game all about these young cats on the Flyers. Maybe that'll be a way to really get me to focus on a Flyers team if I do a watch party for the Flyers. Well, we'll make that part of the New Year's resolution to do a Flyers watch party. I've done Phillies Sixers ones occasionally, and I've done, obviously, the Eagles one. There will not be an Eagles watch party this Sunday, though, by the way. All right, I got some things to take care of. No watch party. The watch parties will return for the playoffs in the new year for sure, guys. And next week's schedule of shows is TBA. Make sure you're liked and you subscribe and you're sharing this show out, but make sure you pay attention to the channel. What days shows will be and what times it will be next week will be up in the air. I will do shows throughout the week next week from Orlando, Florida, but I'm not sure with a house of 10 people what the schedule will be. We'll be golfing a few times, et cetera, et cetera. So stay tuned. We might get some trending in the PMs. We might get more pre-recorded stuff. We'll get content next week. But time to be determined. Detroit missed out Ben Johnson this season. Bears are taking the next step while the Lions take a big step back. Look, it's crazy. It's crazy what a good play caller can do for an offense, right? Look, I expected Ben Johnson to improve the Bears. I did not expect Ben Johnson to improve the Bears this much, this quickly, right? It's crazy how quickly he's turned that team around. How quickly the Lions fell apart after he left. It really is crazy to think how that's played out for Detroit and Chicago. But on the flip side, I'm still not scared of him. The bosses want to have a talk with me on Sunday. What did I do wrong on Sunday? Because I can't say it. I don't know who's watching, but I can't do it on Sunday. Family obligations, we'll just call it. Plus, the car for the airport is leaving at 4 a.m. on Monday morning. So all this has got to be packed up, my whole studio, to take to Florida by then as well. I saw they're calling for Dan Campbell's job. I believe they are calling for Dan Campbell's job in Detroit. I think they would be silly to fire Dan Campbell after one season when he lost his offensive and defensive coordinator. They've had some success in Detroit under Dan Campbell, not the ultimate goal, obviously. I think they would be silly to fire Dan Campbell this year. Will they? I don't know. Maybe. That'd be a question, Adam, for Jason or Detroit Drew. But I think it would be silly for them to fire their head coach after this season. No, you got to make sure he goes out and finds a new play caller on offense. And they definitely got to figure out. The thing with Detroit has always been health. They've probably had ballpark 671 players on injured list over the last 2 seasons. Their strength and conditioning is atrocious. Be looking at that. I don't even think I'm that far off with the 600 number. Campbell is a clown. I mean, is Campbell that much different than Nick Sirianni? Nick Sirianni's just had the luxury of getting to 2 Super Bowls. Dan Campbell has not. He's had a winning era there in Detroit. He's helped turn that organization around with his personality. Now, maybe he's one of those guys that can't get him over the top. Maybe you have to do that. But if I was in Detroit, I would give Dan Campbell one more year with a new play caller on offense and a new play caller on defense, 100%. Short, but not sure. I don't think he deserves the firing at all. What's up, Mitchie Poo? Good morning to you. See you streaming on Christmas. I know you're Jewish, but still, it was kind of crazy to see all the streaming you were doing yesterday. Matvei Michkov hasn't lived up to the hype. I think he was a pretty solid rookie last year. He has struggled this year. My thing is, Mister, why do we expect him to have lived up to the hype already? My question is, do you realize he's only 20 years old? What 20-year-old athlete lives up to elite status hype by their year 20 age? I'm not going to call him a bust. I'm not going to say he hasn't lived up to the hype. I'm not going to do any of that until that kid is not a kid anymore. I'm going to give him till he's 22. He wasn't even supposed to come over till this year. Maybe next year. It was like 2026, the first we were supposed to see a Michkov. I'm not worried about Michkov at all. Michkov just needs to develop. He needs to mature. He needs to grow up. Who was calling for Dan Campbell to be fired? No one from Detroit should actually be considered it. That's absurd. Detroit people are frustrated. They're rightfully they're in that grieving stage. Hey, we think we're going to be Super Bowl champions. We're not even making the playoffs. Detroit fans aren't delusional Cowboys fans. Well, Dak Prescott's part of a franchise that's got 5 Super Bowls. See that Cole Cowboys guy editing graphics with 5 Super Bowl rings on Dak Prescott's hand. They're in that frustrated stage right now, that disappointment stage. I don't think they really, truly want to fire him. I'm not a Sirianni guy. I still don't see what he brings to the team. He brings a winning culture to the team. Is there any coincidence that the greatest success in this franchise history is under Nick Sirianni's tutelage? His leadership, his vision. He's a visionary. He's a revolutionary. He just doesn't call the plays. Yes, Eric Lindros lived up to the hype right away. Okay. And Eric Lindros was what? One of the greatest of all time. You're expecting a 20-year-old, every 20-year-old to be Eric Lindros? Every 20-year-old can't be Bryce Harper? He stays out of people's way. Sirianni belongs in a kindergarten class grading finger paintings. Wow, that's harsh, Elephant. That's real harsh. Extremely harsh. Phil, do you think the Eagles will win the NFC Championship and get back to the Super Bowl? Obviously, the matchups are going to matter, and our health matters in that. In theory, in a vacuum, yes. I think the Eagles get back to the championship game. If everything goes according to plan, no more injuries happen, yes, we get back to the championship game. I don't think a single one of these other teams want to face the Eagles and their experience in the playoffs. They don't. Now, if we don't make it back, I think the Rams to me are probably the team right now. Rams, 49ers, if we don't make it back. 76ers versus Bulls tonight. Who's playing for the Sixers, though? Who's sick this time, Mitchie Poo? For as much as we talk about Joel Embiid injuries over the last 5 to 10 years, and we're joking about Detroit's injuries and IR stints in the last 2 years, as much as we talk about Joel Embiid's constant injuries, and in the game on the 23rd when he banged knees and got hurt and limped off the court, and we were all holding our breath, we don't talk enough about. I mean, I know every sports team has illnesses here and there, but the Sixers seem to have such awful luck over the last 5 years with illnesses spreading in that locker room. Like, it's kind of comical how frequently a virus goes through that. Like, who's in charge of disinfecting that Sixers locker room? They should be fired. I don't watch hockey, but I heard someone say Mitchkov is on his way to being the hockey Ben Simmons. Steve, I think it's too soon for people to say that. I have seen people say that. The kid is 20 years old. He wasn't even supposed to be playing in the NHL till 2026. When you write a 20-year-old kid off, not even a year and a half into his career, it's crazy to me. Now, hopefully, Rick Tocchet doesn't let him to become the next Ben Simmons. Hopefully, Rick Tocchet coaches him up the right way, right? Knock some sense into him, make him more mature. Maybe, hopefully. But I'm not going to say maybe he's going down that path, but I'm not going to say it yet. Because you can't do that to a 20-year-old kid. The moment I saw how often he skates with his head down, I had initial concerns, but I truly thought the bad habit would be coached out. It never was. Was that what it was with E? Nick is Phil Jackson. He wasn't the genius of the triangle offense. Tex Winters was. Interesting. I don't know if Nick's Phil Jackson, but I mean, he's on track. I mean, win a few more Super Bowls and maybe. And what's up, Eric? Good morning to you. 13 likes. I mean, we've been sitting around 25 people watching live for the last 20 minutes. There should be 25 likes on this video. At least subscribe if you haven't shared out. It's not good enough. 13's not good enough. When is Deuce Staley going to get his head coaching opportunity? Maybe never. Maybe never. Everyone's always on this Deuce Staley thing. And why? He can never get his career progressed further than running back coach or assistant head coach. He's never been a play caller. He's never gotten promotions. When he left the Eagles to try to get a promotion, he ended up just making a parallel move. Why do people think Deuce Staley is going to be a great head coach? Sirianni is closer to Dr. Phil than he is Phil Jackson. Look, I get it. People don't like his personality. I don't care about personalities, though. I care about track records of winning. And Nick Sirianni's got a track record of winning. This is not 2 years. We're in year 5. That is a good enough sample size to say he's a winner. That's right. Easy E. I love when I see Easy E in the chat. Yeah, Mitch Cuff will be fine. I don't understand putting that kind of pressure or bust label on 20-year-old kids. Luckily, he doesn't speak much English, if any, and probably doesn't hear the criticism unless he's getting people to translate it for him. But, man, you can't do that. Phillies were on a Deuce Staley parallel line. Yeah, unsuccessful. I really was hoping for a Christmas present of JT Realmuto. Am I crazy to say the longer that the JT Realmuto contract does not get signed, the more likely that it doesn't happen, period. Am I crazy to think that there is a chance now that JT Realmuto will not be back? Am I crazy to think that there's a 1% chance that Rafael Marchand and Garrett Stubbs will be our two catchers platooning next year? My God. We might have some serious catching issues in Philly. The Phillies aren't going to be much better with JT Realmuto. Without him, oh my God. What if it drags till February for JT? To me, it's a possibility. See, I don't know. I think JT wants to stay here. I think the Phillies want JT to stay here. I think JT wants a third year, and the Phillies don't want to give him the third year. But I think JT is going to wait till the last possible second to get that third year or go elsewhere. But at some point, you got to make a decision or move on, right? If JT walks, we're up Schitt's Creek without a paddle. Absolutely. Absolutely agree with you on that. For someone who is not verse, what? Mitch Koff is an offensive specialist on a team whose captain is Sean Couturier. I don't think it's too hard to fathom. JT will be back. In baseball, what makes JT such a good catcher? What are his qualities? Well, JT, first off, defensively speaking, like so for someone you're not versed in baseball, you want to know what? Okay. So the way he handles a pitching staff, the way a catcher, period, handles a pitching staff, okay? Understanding the pitchers, what they're working, how to adjust game plans on the fly. A catcher's like the offensive coordinator for a pitcher, all right? And the trust all our pitchers have in JT Realmuto, the trust every pitcher across baseball has in JT Realmuto. I mean, he's not the great offensive hitting catcher he used to be. He's still a solid hitter. But a solid hitting catcher with elite intangibles is so important on a baseball team, especially a contending baseball team. Not every team has to have a Cal Riley, the home run hitting catcher from the Mariners who hit, 6,000 home runs this year. But the way you handle and call a baseball game, it's so important as a catcher. And that's what makes JT Realmuto so special. Right now, JT is probably hanging in his condo down in Clearwater. I wish I was hanging in a condo in Clearwater, too. Phil Jackson was a psychological genius, Shaq said. When Phil first came to L.A., told Shaq to come to his house when Shaq arrived, didn't let him in and told Shaq to clean his yard. That's pretty funny, actually. Could you imagine actually doing that to Shaquille O'Neal? His ability to call a game. Absolutely. Genetic freak who is a shortstop behind the dish. That's a fair way to call it, too. He is more well-rounded as well. The pitcher batting is long gone. It doesn't matter if the catcher hits 210. It's worth having the hole in the lineup. Yeah. The catcher used to be the second worst hitter in the lineup. Now it can be the worst. But JT's far from the worst hitter. JT is still a quality hitting catcher. He's not going to give you 20 home runs and 100 RBIs. He's not going to hit 290 anymore. But JT Realmuto hitting 240, hitting 12 home runs and driving in 50 runs, having a 750 OPS is still better than not having him because of what he does behind the plate. Nola without JT behind the plate would be a major problem. Nola, yeah, absolutely. You're going to need JT for Andrew Painter this year, who's coming up, who's going to have to come up. You don't want Zach Wheeler coming back from this injury, not having his guy behind the plate. There's got to be a common ground between JT Realmuto and the Phillies organization. At first, I thought they were trying to free up money with the Matt Strom trade to go get somebody else. Maybe it was to free up money to add that third year on the contract for JT Realmuto. I really think, here's the contract. I really think the JT Realmuto situation is playing out eerily similar to the Dallas Goedert situation last offseason with the Eagles. Look, this is what we can offer you. We want you back. You want to come back. You want more money. Go find it. We will not take this. We will not take this offer off the table. It will be here forever. You want it? It's yours. Dallas Goedert goes out, can't find a multi-year contract, comes back, takes the deal. JT's been told, here's the deal. This is what we got for you. Go out and find something better. This deal will stay on the table. If nobody gives him that third year, he'll come back. Now, I don't know if I would risk him going. I don't know if I'd risk losing him to a third year somewhere else. But, man, it's a big risk. Is there a catcher out there? There are no free agent catchers. There's only like 5 or 6 catchers better than JT in baseball, period. But there's no free agent catcher out there that will do what JT does, to my knowledge. But is Diaz available? Is he a free agent? There are, from what I read, catchers available that you could trade for. But are they going to trade for a catcher? Are they going to part with prospects for a catcher when you've got JT right there? Blame the broadcast last night for slobbering over Travis. Nothing else much more to talk about. I honestly kind of zoned out on the Chiefs game. I drank a lot of wine last night with dinner. And by the time, by like 9:30, I was out. So if they were slobbering over, look, Travis, it arguably, or it could conceivably be the last time Travis Kelce will be on a primetime game. It'll be the last time Travis Kelce is in Kansas City, potentially playing football. Travis Kelce's career could be over next week. For sure. So if they're slobbering over, that's fine. It is what it is. I'm a little hungover this morning. I will not lie for that at all. I don't think catchers are that important. I could be wrong. I think catchers are very important, what they do behind the plate. I think it's very, very important. JT turns a lot of singles and walks into outs. Absolutely. Got opening day tickets for Christmas. So JT better be the open. Oh, wow. That's an awesome Christmas present, Steve. I've never been to an opening day game. I've been to a lot of day 2 games. Okay? I went to a lot of game 2s. Never game 1s. Home games. Catchers are the smartest players on the field. Absolutely. I think me and you are in agreement that having a great catcher is important. Kelce should go out on top. So you want Travis Kelce to try to come back next year? I don't know. I don't think the Chiefs are going to go into rebuild mode like others think. Mahomes will be back early next year. I think Andy Reid will stick around another year. They'll make some changes. They'll rebuild that offensive line, etc. But Kelce might call it. I think Kelce was pretty close to calling it before this year. I think this is the last year for him. I think his body's just worn out at this point. I think the catcher in baseball is as important as having a good center in football. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's fair, for sure. If I'm Travis, I retire. There's lots of money outside. I don't even think money's important to him. Like, I mean, the dude's got plenty of money. His soon-to-be wife's got even more money. It's not a money thing. I think the Travis Kelce's of the world, the Rob Gronkowski's of the world, that physical style of tight end play that they had for such a long part of their careers, it wears on your body. Those guys took a lot of beatings running over the middle, big hits. So I think his body's just beat up. I think he's just tired. In 2013, I went Travis over Ertz, but heck, Ertz did his job. Yeah, that was a long time ago. Could you imagine if Travis Kelce would have been drafted instead of Zach Ertz? I mean, it changes everything in Eagles history. I went to an opening day years ago against the Cardinals. John Lieber. Wow, John Lieber. He was our opening day starter 2 years in a row, wasn't he? maybe even 3 years in a row. I remember when we signed him to he was like a big free agent signing one year during those dreaded Phillies years. Was on the mound, gave a home run to Albert Pujols. Okay, gotcha. Gotcha. So who decides what the pitchers throw? It's a culmination, right? They go into the game with a game plan. The pitching coach, the catcher, and the pitcher. All right, these are the hitters. This is what they like and don't like, right? But on the field, each pitch, the catcher calls it. Now, some pitchers won't trust their catcher, and they'll shake pitches off. They'll go, no, they'll ask for a different pitch. But someone like JT Realmuto, whatever JT Realmuto puts up sign-wise, whether you're Zach Wheeler, one of the best pitchers in baseball, or the worst pitcher on the Phillies, you do what JT Realmuto says because you trust JT Realmuto and how he calls. He's the offensive coordinator. He's the center calling out the defensive signals. He is the leader on the field on defense. This was the 06 opening day, and they got clobbered by the Cardinals. Wow. The catcher is trusted the catcher unless you played for, and it was raining. Okay, I don't remember that. Does the fact that Kelsey's last catch in the NFL won't be from Mahomes play a factor in his decision? I don't know if that plays a factor. I think he's going to drag it out. I think he's going to say after next week, I'm going to go home. I'm going to lick my wounds. I'm going to get healthy. I'm not going to rush to make my decision. And that's rightfully so. You don't rush a retirement decision. But I think when it comes down to it, and watching how his brother went out because his body, watching his brother still play elite football, but go out at the right time because of the way his body felt. I think he calls it. I think he says, Travis Kelce, look, I want to be able to walk, down the aisle when I get married. I want to pick up and play with my kids, etc. Travis will either announce his retirement on a Taylor Swift song or on his podcast. All right? One or the other. He'll monetize his retirement announcement for sure. I'm not sure how, but he will. And that's fine. I'm okay with him doing that as well. I don't care. The NFL maybe they try to convince him to stay for one more year of Taylor Swift attention, but it don't matter. The Taylor Swift stuff don't do anything for me. It doesn't bother me at all, the Taylor Swift stuff. Anyway, back to the Eagles game. We got so off track in the conversation today. It's been a great conversation. It's been a great show so far. There's still only 15 likes, which is crazy, considering the amount of time we spent between 20 and 30 people watching this show. So if you haven't yet, like, subscribe, share. This is Trending in the AM on the STT Sports Network. I'll do another show, pre-recorded or live tonight or tomorrow, because there'll be no show on Sunday or Monday on this channel. But will the Eagles win on Sunday? Will they play their starters? It's so hard to predict this Eagles game because I don't know who's going to play. I don't know how it's going to play out. I don't know what their game plan is going to be in the intensity. I wanted to cruise up to Buffalo for the game, but it's Buffalo in December. Yeah, I don't want to go to Buffalo in September, let alone Buffalo in December. 26-21, Eagles win. Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure. I'm not sure the Eagles win on Sunday. I'm not. Merry Christmas, Marshawn. Thank you very much for your message yesterday as well. Hope you had a great holiday. Hope you had a great day. No stream on Sunday. I got a personal family thing to attend to on Sunday. So no stream on Sunday. We'll be back for the playoff live streams 100%. But there will be no stream on Sunday. 44-6 Tanner McKee. Yeah, I mean, the McKee train is rolling into town. I don't know what to predict for Sunday's game. I really don't. It does. How does Vic Fangio stop Josh Allen? We have struggled against rushing offenses, but we've really struggled against rushing offenses with mobile quarterbacks. And Josh Allen's ability to run for first downs, I think he leads the league in first down runs on third down, rushing for first downs or scrambles for first downs. Josh Allen leads the league in it. So they do the things we struggle with most really well. I think it's 26 because of 2 missed PATs. I'm trotting Jake Elliott out there for 7 field goal attempts. I'm getting him right. Eagles 27, 16 Bills. I don't know about that. I haven't cared less about an Eagles outcome since, I really don't care about the outcome of the game. Dotson, 203 touchdowns. Let McKee and Tank cook. Sure. Let him go. Let him run wild. That's the thing. They couldn't box Caleb Williams. How many times did Caleb Williams scramble for a first down? Justin Herbert, we couldn't stop for first down runs. It's been a recurring theme all year. Big runs up the middle and first down scrambles by quarterbacks. I mean, you look at the Eagles' defensive stats, okay? They've gotten so much better over the last couple of weeks, right? We are the 12th total defense in yards, 7th best pass defense, 3rd best defense in points allowed, 19.3 points per game. But we're still the 21st ranked run defense, all right? Literally, the 3rd best defense in football, but 21st against the run. And the Bills, 4th points ranked offense, but the number 1 ranked rush defense. James Cook is going to rush for 120 yards. Josh Allen, another 60. They're going to have 3 rushing touchdowns combined on Sunday. Now, that's the key to the game. Just need Jalen to outplay Josh so we don't hear, everyone's going to talk about Josh Allen outplays Jalen Hurts. Or Jalen Hurts will throw for 190 yards, 1 touchdown, and the Eagles win. But Josh Allen will throw for 400 yards and have 3 turnovers, but everyone will hype up Josh Allen's great effort. They did play two do offenses. But also since this turnaround, the defense turnaround started back in Detroit and Green Bay. So the defensive turnaround started 7 weeks ago, Marshawn. They also were without their best trench players. They were. Merry Christmas, Rolo. How you doing? Sam Howell game against, that'd be great. The Sam Howell Washington revenge game. Let's do it. Let's go. I would be satisfied if the Eagles stuffed the Bills' tush-push attempts. That would be funny, right? I got a news for you, Steve. You're hearing it either way. What was Steve's last? You're going to hear the Josh Allen love and the Jalen Hurts hate no matter what. That Raiders do offense put up 21 versus the Texans' elite defense. That's true, Steve. Although it was Geno Smith, not Kenny Pickett playing quarterback. I'm just wondering how many snaps Jalen Carter gets. Personally, I'd give him 0. You might see 10 or 12. I don't know. Without Pro Bowl D tackle Jalen Carter. Pro Bowl defensive tackle, but not Pro Bowl defensive tackle Jordan Davis. I still am not over the fact that Jordan Davis didn't get voted to the Pro Bowl. I know the Pro Bowl is meaningless and stupid, but it just rubs me the wrong way that cat couldn't get a Pro Bowl nomination. Like, why? How? What is wrong with people? Anyway. I've got 2 scores written down, okay? 1 Eagles prediction and 1 Bills prediction. I'm still thinking about it. Jake Elliott looks like David Akers in his last year. I said it, Marshawn, sarcastically at the beginning of the show, that this is the week to get right. Win, lose, no matter. Fix the problems, right? Jake Elliott's a big question mark. Every time the Eagles offense hits the 40-yard line, I'm stopping the offensive drive, and I'm trotting Jake Elliott out there. I'm going to have him kick 8 field goals on Sunday in bad weather. Figure it out. It's fight or flight time. At this point, the Eagles are just going to vote out their own tush push. Yeah, it's not working for us, but it's working for everybody else now. Exactly. Justin Tucker, no. Justin Tucker sucks. He wasn't that great at the end either. None of the Eagles Pro Bowlers are going to make it because they'll be practicing for the Super Bowl. That is true. Very, very true. Our D will shut down the run. I am not confident in that. I'm going 27-17 Birds. Yeah, I don't know. We are not. We could be the second, the third, or the fourth seed, but most likely we are the third seed. It's Buffalo this week. We're playing the Bills in Buffalo. Poll question results for the day. Should Lane Johnson and Jalen Carter play on Sunday? Yes, they should play. Got 46% of the votes. No, got 33% of the votes. Just Lane Johnson should play. Got 4% of the votes. And just Jalen Carter should play. Got 17% of the votes. I'm surprised how that played out. I thought just Jalen Carter would be a much higher vote, but okay. We don't know who we're playing in the playoffs yet because there's so much. While there's not many teams that can make the playoffs, pretty much everybody's locked in. There's 8 teams left fighting for 7 spots, and one of that 8th team is just fighting the Bucks and the Panthers fighting for the division. But there literally is 6 of the 8 teams, 5 of the 7 teams that are going to make the playoffs still have a shot at the 1 seed at this point. Good morning, Duck. Better late than never. Myles Garrett should break the single sack record this week. Browns highlight of their season. Breaks the sack record. If a tree falls in a forest and no one's there to hear it, doesn't make a sound. If Myles Garrett breaks the sack record, but no one sees it happen, does it matter? The playoffs start today. Are we playing the Rams? Let me look right now, because I'm not actually sure about that. I think that fluctuated a few times. If it was right now, yes, we'd be playing the Rams. It was the 49ers, and now it's the Rams. So it could be we could be playing Seattle, L.A., San Fran. All are in play for our first matchup right now. Even the Bears potentially could be a first-round matchup. My friend said he hopes his Bears see the Eagles again in the playoffs. I said, are you ready for that? Oh, yeah. It's about time to dust off Brent Fedek jersey. Why? Myles Garrett should be an Eagle. He should be. Who's scared of the Rams? I am. I am scared of the Rams. I am. That wouldn't be fair. Who said it before? I think it was actually Steve said it. I'm looking at my score predictions that I've written down. I think someone already, yeah. So I got 2 scores written down here. So my Bills prediction, I got to wrap this up in about 5 minutes, guys. So I'm going to get my prediction out of the way here. If the Bills win, I got the Bills winning 24-19, 3 rushing touchdowns from Josh Allen and James Cook combined. But I like Steve's prediction. If the Eagles win, 26-21. Still gets those 3 rushing touchdowns in there, too, for the Bills. The Rams are like last year's Packers. I ain't scared. I don't know. Experience there. Skill sets there. Injuries. Health. I think McVay, Stafford. I think they're a dangerous team. They're at least a team that we know who they are. We don't know who Seattle is, really. We don't know who Chicago really is come playoff time. We know what the Rams are. The Rams are predictable at this point. And that's a good thing and a bad thing. I think these playoffs are going to give us some of the most exciting matchups and games. Absolutely agree. Any given Sunday is in full effect this year in January. 100%. McVay never beats the Eagles under Nick Sirianni's tenure. But McVay had our number in the Doug Peterson era. Okay? That's first off. And I think the Rams are due to beat us. I mean, I didn't read your comment because didn't you put it up one time before that? I thought it was just a repeat comment. I'm not screening your comments, Marshawn. Don't worry. I would never screen you. I just thought you had already put up 44-6 McKee once before because you want to stir the McKee drama, and you know how much it annoys me. I get it. It is what it is. We beat them, but they also beat us. I remember doing a post-game show one year after McVay and the Rams beat us. It was the Tyler Higsby big game. I think it was like 2021 or 2020. It was 2020. Do not suppress the McKee revolution. I will suppress it. I will continue to suppress it until I can't suppress it no more. But I will continue to suppress it. I want nothing to do with the McKee revolution. All right? Nothing. How many fans get their blood pressure raised 10-5? At least 10-5. At least 10-5. McKee or we riot. Next week. Let him play against the Washington Commanders next week, okay? All right, let him put up 300 yards next week, okay? Against backups, all right? Not worried about it other than that. All right, I'll roll with it. I'll roll with Soldier Steve's prediction of 26-21 Eagles. That's what I'm going to roll with, okay? That's what I'm going to go with. Anyway, I'm going to try my best to find time tonight or tomorrow to go live again. Maybe we'll do a trending in the PM tonight or tomorrow. Maybe during the Sixers game tonight. I don't know. I got to record some check down stuff anyway. We are some V for Vendetta for McKee. I want nothing to do, Suzanne, with the McKeesters, okay? Sam Howell's revenge game in week 18. You won your fantasy. I'm in the championship. My nephew, it's his dad, his dad, and all his uncles and stuff. And somehow his dad and his uncle are head-to-head in the championship this week. It's the battle of the Stiefel brothers for the Stiefel Family Fantasy Football Championship. I'm favored to win. I know it was last week, but did you see that catch from Gainwell? I did. Go Kenny Gainwell. Not the Sixers game. I'm just thinking of a time to go live, maybe. I'm not sure. After today, technically, I'm not scheduled to go live till Tuesday of next week again. So maybe I'll find some time to do one more show. McKeesters are getting more and more delusional. Yeah, they are. Maybe I'll do like a morning show on Sunday, like an Eagles pregame show before my other things I've got to accomplish. It's like that Harbaugh Super Bowl. Yeah, absolutely. Harbaugh versus Harbaugh. Well, this is Stiefel versus Stiefel for the championship. You're going down, Chachi. All right, anyway, guys, I got to wrap this baby up. I got things to get to today. I will talk with you guys later. Have a great day. Eagles are going to win on Sunday. Go Birds. Bubbles up.